welcome to Tuesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today we're going to adopt a Wimbledon theme. I think Mark's got a Wimbledon puzzle for later, and I've been tasked with having a look at 15 Love by Starwarigami. Now, I've loved the puzzles I've done by Starwarigami over the last month or so, so I've no doubt this will be brilliant. And look, I think it's just a killer Sudoku with 15 cages, so we've just got a lot of 15 cages in the grid, and we're going to have to sort these out. I believe this is approachable today as well, so that should be rather cool. And if you're new to variant Sudoku, this might be a good puzzle to cut your teeth on. But before I read you the rules and we get cracking on the puzzle, I've got a couple of things to mention. I need to say a very happy birthday today to Martin. Now, Martin, your girlfriend Maggie got in touch with us and told us that basically the two of you have been solving puzzles together on the channel since the start of lockdown, as so many people have, and that's great news. And I actually saw on Discord the other day that it's now over 2.5 years since we moved to doing 2 puzzles a day on the channel, which we did basically to try and help out people with COVID. So it's and it's quite a long time, isn't it, not to have a day off? But we're going to continue. Do not worry. For as long as health and happiness allows us to, we will be doing 2 videos a day. But anyway, Martin, a very happy birthday. I hope you have lots and lots of cake, of course. Now, next, I need to say congratulations to more of you who have managed to make your way through and successfully solve Joseph Nehme's Sudoku Hunt, which is available right now over on Patreon. If you're a patron of the channel and you haven't checked it out, you really should, because these are 13 beautiful, beautiful handmade puzzles by one of the world's great constructors. The feedback we've been getting in the emails where people have sent their solutions in has just been stellar. Everybody is loving these puzzles, and they are quite approachable in the main, so no excuses. You can all solve them, honestly. Anyway, the following have managed to solve all 13 of them correctly, so very well done to John Rice, to Tom Hayton, Bill Alsop, Peyton Lee, Naresh Sachan, Joseph List, Luke Bovard, John Bruns, could be Bruns, but John Bruns maybe, Jim Davis, Zorro, Brendan Wright, You'll Never Walk Alone, wrote Brendan. I return that greeting, Brendan, of course. Riddy Darnawat, Kayla Hanks, Helen Whitfield, Lady Ruatha, Steve Potashnik, and Ian Van Delft. All of you, all correct. Very well done indeed. Now, finally, before we kick off and solve the puzzle, I wanted to talk to you. Some of you have asked about this. On Twitter the other day, I tweeted a cryptic crossword clue, which I described as one of Mark and my favourites of all time, and it is indeed. And I didn't give any hints as to how to solve it, and you should be, even if you are an absolutely brilliant cryptic crossword solver, you may not solve this clue, because this is evil. This is the definition of evil. It's by one of the greatest crossword makers there has ever been. Seriously, Saber. If you've been solving the listener for any amount of time, you will know the name Saber. Absolutely extraordinary setter, and the author of many of my favourite puzzles of all time, including a puzzle called Author, if I remember correctly. But anyway, this is a normal cryptic clue, this one. His work showed little independence, and I wondered how many of you could solve this. Do drop a comment if you solve this without the hints. I would love to know, because this is just brilliant, but it's evil. How do you solve it? Well, let's talk about that. I suppose the key to solving, there's 2 keys to solving this. The first is really difficult, and that's to realise that little independence here is cluing the fact that if you look at Chambers, and I've done a snip of the Chambers dictionary here, you can see that one of the valid abbreviations for the letter I is the word independence. So Saber here, by using little independence, is cluing just the letter I. So how does the rest of it work? Well, believe it or not, the definition in this clue is the word his. Only you have to read his rather differently. It looks like it's the word his. For all intents and purposes, you think, how can it possibly be anything else? But what would be the plural of the word high? So if you were going to say hello to somebody, the plural of hello is obviously hellos. So the plural of the word hi is highs, which looks very like the word his. It looks the same as the word his. So in fact, this definition is highs. Work here is not a noun. It's being used as an anagram indicator. To say anagram, to work the letters. If you kneaded dough, you would work the dough. So imagine kneading the letters of the word showed and I for Little Independence, and then you would get an anagram of the word showed and I, and that answer is howdies, which is it's a plural of a word that like hello, like hellos, howdies, and highs is therefore the definition. Isn't that clever? Anyway, I know for some of you you'll be thinking, what is he gibbering on about? But for some of you, I realise that will probably have made your day. And it's those people I was trying to reach with that. So that's what you get from Sabre. Anyway, let's get on with Star Origami now. Let's do some Sudoku. What have we got in store? We have got the following rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Digits cannot repeat within a cage. So what that's telling us is that those 4 digits there sum to 15, and what we can't do is repeat digits. So ordinarily in a Sudoku we could of course put 2 3s in these cells, because this 3 doesn't see this 3, doesn't see it in its row or column or box. So there would be normally no reason to say these couldn't be 3s, but because they're in the same cage they cannot be. So this would not be a legitimate way of filling this 15 cage. Now, do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And, okay. So I can see we've got one enormous 15 cage down there. And we've got a smattering of domino 15 cages as well. And at least these are cages I can say something about. So in fact, let's start with the domino 15 cages, because they have either got to be 6 9 or 7 8. That's the only way of filling 2 digits in to get to a total of 15. And this 15 cage has got to be 1 2 3 4 or 5. Well, then that's because the triangular number for 5 is 15, i.e. what do I mean by a triangular number? Well, I mean what is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. So imagine you're creating a pool table triangle, and if you keep extending rows into your pool triangle, you'd start with 1, then you get 3, and then you get 6, and then you get 10, and then you get 15, and then you get 21, and then you get 28, etc. So that's how we know that this is 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okie dokie. So we might have to colour this, actually. I'm just wondering whether I can see that this 15, if this was 7 8, for example, this 15 is not 7 8, which means that 15 is 7 8. So those two are the same sort of 15 cage. The other thought, the other thought that might be better is to think about high and low digits. Oh, there's another 15 cage there. I didn't spot that one. Sorry. Oh, okay. Well, has that made up my mind? It might have done. Yeah, so what I'm thinking here is, I know these 4 digits have got to be 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I can see that in column 7, that's going to give me a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. So I'm wondering whether the idea with this puzzle is to sort of highlight high and low digits. And I can do that using the power of colouring, obviously. So we'll make high digits orange because they are sunny digits and therefore high. Temperatures are high. And I'll make cold digits blue. I think these are the most colourblind friendly, or this is the most colourblind friendly combination that we can use in our palette. So yes, so these cells have to all be orange because they are from 6, 7, 8 and 9, which means this column has got its 4 oranges and must be completed with a whole load of blues. Now, what's that digit then? So that digit is high. because the absolute maximum I could make these two blue digits, which are 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and 5s, would be a 5 and a 4, which add up to 9, which still makes this have to be a 6 at least, which means that this cell is orange. Yeah, okay, so maybe we can do... well that 15 cage has got 2 oranges in it. And that means these are a minimum of 6 plus 7, which means this is, not only is this a maximum of 2, it's either a 1 or a 2, but it's also blue. Now this is a 4-cell cage with an orange in it, so the minimum these cells could be would be 1, 2 and 3. Sorry, Maverick's doing his fly pasts again today. Seems to be on some sort of mission to interrupt my videos at the moment. Okay, what we can say here is that all these cells are blue. And that's because if we had a second orange in this cage, the minimum sum of those 2 orange digits would be 6 plus 7, which is 13. And the other 2 cells would have to sum up to 2, which means they would have to both be 1. And that would break the rule about not repeating digits in cages. So all 3 of those are blue. We could have a second orange in this one actually. So how can we do better than this? Let me think. I've got all 4 oranges in column 1, so all of those are blue. Oh yeah, okay, here's something interesting. Look at this 15 cage. Yes, it must have an orange in it, mustn't it? Because if it didn't have an orange in it, the maximum we could put in it, if all of these were blue, they could be 5, 4, 3 and 2 as a maximum, and 5, 4, 3 and 2 add to 14. And that's not 15. There is a knowledge bomb for you. So there must be an orange in this cage, which means that the 4 oranges in this box are confined to those 5 cells, which means these 2 are blue. Which means I've now got 4 blues in this row. Okay, let's do that trick again actually on this 15 cage. Because this 15 cage we've just worked out must have an orange in it. It can't have more than 1 orange in it, so that's the total for oranges in box 1, which means these 2 are blue. So this is a domino filled with 1 orange and 1 blue. Which means that takes us up to 4 blues in this column. What about 3-cell cages? I don't think we can say as much about 3-cell cages because they could have 2 oranges in them. And indeed that one does. But they don't need to have 2 oranges in them. They could have 2, yeah, they could be like that one. So there are basically 2 configurations for the 3-cell 15 cages, and that's not helpful. Now, okay, so I'm fast approaching the point where we might have to consider either disambiguating between our 15 cages or looking for something else. Here's a small point, look. This domino here adds to 15, therefore that domino there also adds to 15. Because if this is 6, 9, that must be 7, 8. If this is 7, 8, this must be 6, 9. That means these 2 cells add to 15. Does that help? So, okay, so there's going to be a matching pair. One of these dominoes, which will add to 15, is going to match with this domino, which adds to 15. And then that domino is going to have to appear in 2 of those 3 cells. And in fact, that cell is therefore orange. Good grief, that's quite complicated. So let me just explain this slowly. Let's imagine this is, I don't know, make it 6, 9. I know either this domino or this domino is 6, 9. Let's just make it this one. Doesn't matter which. But you can see now that in the bottom row, I can't put 6, 9 in these cells, and I can't put it in these cells. And I can't put 6 and 9 in this cell, because that cell would have to be a 0. That won't work. So that means one of these 2 cells is orange and the other orange goes there. But we don't know whether this is 6, 9 or 7, 8. And we don't know in turn which one of these is going to match this. So although we know this is orange and therefore high, maybe I'll label these up. This is getting a bit desperate, isn't it? Okay, maybe we've got to think about something else. You can't put a 9 in this one. That might be interesting actually. And you can't put a 9 in because 9 plus 6 is already 15, and that would have to be a 0. So that means 9 is in one of these two cells, which means 9 is not there, which means 6 is not here. And oh no, that's no good. Oh, well, okay. One of these must be a 6 because 7 plus 8 is 15, and that would make this a 0. So one of these is 6, which means neither of those is 6. Okay. So how do we do this then? It might be that I'm missing some geometry here actually. I'm just going to take a stare for that for a no, I suddenly thought this row was going to be interesting. Boxes 1 and 4 have got very cluttered 15. They've very tightly packed 15 cages in them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ah, right, okay, that's at least worth thinking about for a moment because of the secret. Now, if you're new to the channel, you might not know the secret, but the secret is something I do tell my favourite people, which of course includes anybody watching Cracking the Cryptic. Now, what is the secret? The secret is that any complete box of a Sudoku, because of the rules of Sudoku, will contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. And if you add up those digits, you get the triangular number for 9, which is 45. Now, if I know that that box adds to 45, and this box also adds to 45, that means that together these boxes add to 90. But look, if we look carefully here, I think there are 7 15 cages originating in these boxes. And that means, well, you can think of 45 as 3 times 15. So 6 of these 15 cages would be enough to completely fill these cages, or these boxes, which means these 4 digits here that are sticking out must add up to 15, because we've got 7 15 cages packed into these cells plus the purple cells. Now, yeah, this is great. This is great because actually now I want to look at the fact that I've got blue dominoes already in these 15 cages. And we worked out earlier that we can't fill these 15 cages with 4 blue squares. It's impossible. So that means that in these purple dominoes there is a high digit. Yet, well, there's a high digit in this purple domino and a high digit in this purple domino. So the minimum we could put into those two as those high digits would be 2 6s, which is 12 already, which means that the other digits could not be higher than 2. So we could do 6 1 and 6 2, or we could do 7 1 and 6 1. But right, so these digits here are from 1, 2, 6 and 7 only. And that feels like it might matter. Does that matter somehow? That can't be 6 actually, looking at the 6 over there. So this is now a little bit restricted. Can we deduce anything really useful from this though? That's the question. So I've got to include very low digits in both of these. But I don't know which of these is the very low digit, at least unless I'm missing something there. This 15 cage needs a high digit in it, doesn't it? But that could be there, and that would force this to be a higher digit. So there's some sort of weird X-wing on high digits applying between in this P pentomino there. Okay, sorry about this. I'm not spotting quite how this works. Maybe I do have to try and disambiguate the 15 cages as well. That could be true. Or maybe we can... I don't know. I'm trying to write. My mouth is trying to write checks. My brain won't cache at the moment. Or maybe we can do something different with... Oh, I really like that as an idea. I really did. I thought that was going to break it open somehow, but it just doesn't seem to work. If I knew that both of these were 6s, would that be useful? Yeah, that would be useful, because then this cage would have to not be 6-9, it would have to be 7-8. And that would start to disambiguate all of the 15 cages. So if this is 7, this becomes 6-9, and we'd know the order. Okay, I'm not sure about that, so maybe I've got to think about other things. Let's do that thinking then. Do we know anything about this? I was wondering whether I can... Well, actually, yes I do, don't I? I know that this 15 cage, because this is a virtual 15 cage, is different from this one. Because if this was 6-9, this would have to be 7-8. So hang on, let me think about that. So this, whatever this is, this isn't. Which means this has a yellow flash and this has a green flash. Which means, unless I'm mistaken, that those two square cells have got to be high. And that is a green flash pair by Sudoku, which is quite interesting. Yes, so perhaps this is what we have to do. I think what we might have to do is to go around the grid and see if we can work out. So I've now got more blue digits in box 3. I've got... This is looking at this yellow pair of 15s. It's looking at this 15 pair, which must be a green pair, which means this must be a yellow pair, which means this must be a yellow pair. Oh, we don't know what that is. That's unfortunately sees green and yellow in its row. This cell here has got to now be green because it would knock yellow out of this cell if it was yellow. So we now know that this is green by our Sudoku trick that we thought about earlier. Ah, right. And now let's have a look at yellow. Because what can we say about yellow in box 6? And we can say one interesting thing, which is that this pair of yellows is knocking yellow out of these cells. Now where does this yellow digit then go in this box? And the answer is it's got to go in the 15 cage. So that means this 15 cage contains 2 high digits, or 2, when I say high digits, I mean 2 of the digits 6, 7, 8 and 9. So it can't have 9 in it. That's it, we've done it. Right, so yes, this digit here, whatever it is, has to go in one of those 2 cells. I don't have a good way of showing that, but it does have to go in there by Sudoku. Therefore, imagine this digit was a 9. Well, that would be a 9 in here, and the cage would be broken. But the same thing can be said about this digit. If this is a 9, even if this is a 6, that's 9 plus 6, and the other digit would have to be 0. So that can't be 9, which means it's a 7 or an 8. And we know this is a domino, so that's, we've done it. We've disambiguated the colours. So now this is a 6-9 pair, and we know the order. 9, 6. Oh, bobbins. I thought that was going to just flow then, but it didn't. But maybe that's because I need to do some more thinking. Right, so now we now know that the yellow flash domino is a 6-9 pair, so that means that's 9, that's 6. This has got to be a 7-8 pair. This has got to be a 7-8 pair. So this has got to be, you've guessed it, a 6-9 pair. This has got to be a 6-9 pair. This has got to be a 7-8 pair. So this we now know is a 7 or an 8. 7 or an 8. We know there's a 7 or an 8 in here. Yes, lovely. And now look at this domino. So that's not got 7 in it anymore because of this 7-8 pair. And that means this cell is a 1 or a 2, which means this needs to be the high digit, which we know must exist in this 15 cage. So now we've got a 1-2 pair there. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Just wanted to get rid of 1 and 2 from this cell by Sudoku. And this looked a bit like a deadly pattern, but you can see that this 15 cage is going to tell us what this value is and break this otherwise deadly pattern. So if this is 6, this is lovely. How clever. Wow, this is it's a very nice puzzle. This feels more difficult than 2 stars out of 5, but maybe there was another way to break into it. But look, 6 here, ruling 6 out of this domino. So it's now got 7 in it, and this has got 6 in it, and yet we know these 4 squares add up to 15. So they must be 6, 1 and 7, 1, and we know this digit. So that's 6, that's 2. This is now a 1-7 pair. I feel like I should know the order of that, but I don't appear to. This is 2, this is 6. 2 plus 6 is 8, so that's a 7, which means that's an 8, which means that's an 8, and that's a 7. Okay. And that's so that wasn't the way. I thought it was going to be disambiguated by this 15 cage. But now we can see that there's a 6 in here along with a 1 in order to make the cage add up to 15. So this is not a 1. Don't know if we can improve on that. We probably can somehow, but I can't see how to do it immediately. And now, right, now look at this cage here. It's got to have a 7 or an 8 in it because it must have a high digit and it can't be 6 or 9, and that 7 or 8 is going to have to go into this square. So we can immediately colour this in, which means this is the final blue cell in box 4. We've got to put 9. Right, where does 9 go in this box? It can't go in the 15 cage because remember there is a 7 or an 8 in one of those 2 cells. So it must go here, which means that gets oranged and I suppose yellow to be consistent. That now is a blue digit. This is now an orange-yellow digit. Can't disambiguate this yet, but that's now blue. Okay, so now it seems, yes, this column is done, isn't it? So that's 6, that's 9, and that is blue. No, it's not, sorry. No, it's a 7 or an 8. Apologies, I've not got my final high digit into that column. So now all 3 of these are blue. We might have to start thinking about things like 1s in a minute, because there is definitely a 1 in that 15 cage, because even if this is 7, these digits still need to add up to 8 in 3 cells, which requires a 1. So there's now a 1 in one of those 2 cells, which means there's a 1 look in one of these 3 cells, which is nearly useful. Oh, I've got a 9 here in a 15 cage. So that's got to be accompanied both by 3 digits that add up to 6. That's got to be 1, 2, and 3. So I can do that. That's 2. This is a 1-3 pair. 2 has got to go in one of those cells by Sudoku. Is that good enough? Have we broken the back of it now? Maybe not. 9 has to be in one of those two cells. Don't know if we know which one. Oh, come on. This must be about to fall over, I think, now. Right, these two squares add up to 8. So these two squares add up to 7, and they can't be 1, 6. That would repeat the 1. But they could be 2, 5, or 3, 4, I think. Is there a reason they can't? I don't think so. Might be wrong. I'm not seeing how to do that. Okay, so 2, look, is in this 15 cage, which means 2 is in one of those cells. Can we say which one with any certainty? I don't know. No, okay. Right, so we have to keep thinking here. 7? Ooh, 7 is in one of those two cells, which is almost great, but not quite good enough. Okay, we're 1 or 2 deductions away now. Now this cage has got to have a 6 or a 9 in it, because we haven't got the complement of this one in row 1. But I don't think we know which of those is required. This one has to have a high digit in it. Yeah, okay. Let's have a look at this row. We've got a 7-8 pair knocking 7-8 out of this cell. Oh no, that could be the 7. I'm wrong. Sorry, ignore me. Ignore me entirely. I was thinking I could force one of these two squares to be high, but I can't. So we still need something else. Okay, let's have a look here. We've got 7 in this cage already. So these two squares add up to 8. And we can't use 2, 6 or 1, 7. So that is a 3, 5 pair. Now that means these squares have got to be 1, 2 and 4. And that's what disambiguates our green square here. 1, 2 and 4 add up to 7. So this has got to be 8. Which means that's 7, that's 8, that's 7, that's 8, that's 7. And long may that continue. Yeah, all of those go in. There's now, oh, that's now 1. I see. Ha ha, now. Okay, is that done it? So now we can bluify this, we can orangify this and give it its green flash for good order. We can, right, this square and these both are both blue now, so there is a high digit in here, and that high digit has got to be an 8. Which somehow doesn't seem to... Well, it does mean the rest of the blue squares in that box have to be 1, 2 and 4 in order to add up to 7. That's not 1. Yeah, okay, this 2 has to appear in this cage because we know it's got 1, 2, 4 and 8 in it, and it can't go there. So it can only go here. So, and now the 1 in this cage can only go here. So we now know these two squares are in fact a 4, 8 pair, and these two squares are a 3, 5 pair, and these two squares are a 4, 9 pair, and that knocks 4 out of all these squares. If I could type, whoa. So that seems to be saying this digit's restricted, but that might just be because I messed up my... I'm not sure I trust my pencil marks in there now because I misclicked there. So 4 comes out of here, 1 and 2 comes out of here. This still seems to have 3 and 5 as an option, so we were probably right to be a bit careful about that. 1 and 2 come out of here, so if there is a 4 in one of these cells, which means there's a 4 in one of these cells by Sudoku, which means that we can place the 4 in this 15 cage. We get a 1, 2 pair which is resolved. Ah! What on earth happened then? Completely lost my army. That's a 1, that's a 6. Okay, this is now not 7. This is a 7, so these three digits add up to 8 and don't have a 4 in. So they've got to be 1, 2 and 5, which means this is a 3, this is a 5, this is now a 3, 4 pair, which is lovely because that adds up to 7, which is the right number to make this 15 cage work. These squares down here look like they're 3, 4 and 5. And we've now got a 3, 4, 5 triple in the bottom row, which means this square must be a 2, which means that's a 1, that's a 2. These two digits add up to 13. Oh, but there's only... Oh, but there is a 6 in there. I wanted to say, have we got 2 high digits in there? And we do, actually. We've got a 6 in there, and what must be a 7 in order to make 13. So that's got to be 7 here, 6 here, 8 here. All 3 of these are obviously high digits. 6 is the yellow flash. That's the green flash. Therefore, this is a green flash digit. This is the 8, which is another green flash digit. This is therefore a blue flashed 4. This 1 is doing the 1 and the 3. Okay, so we must be nearly done now. 6 is apparently not resolved. Ah, that can't be 8 anymore. So now this one is a yellow flashed digit. Ah, what's going on? Ah! Sorry, I'm getting overzealous with my clicking and with just my clicking. This 4 is nice. I think it feels like the puzzle's finished to me. I might be misspeaking there, but it does feel like everything we're doing now is fairly straightforwardly Sudoku-y. Let's hope that continues. 9 is in one of those 2 cells, which is the 4th high digit, so that's a high digit, which is a 4 or a 5. There's a 4 in one of those, so that's not a 4. Okay. Now, perhaps what we've got to think about is where 8 goes in this row. We can do that. It's got to go there, which forces the 2 upwards, which means these 2 squares have to add up to 13 without being 7, 6 or 5, 8. So this is a 4, 9 combination. So it must do that, which fixes all of this stuff. This now is that colour. These 2 are both blue. This is a 3, 5 pair, which we can fill in, which gets us the 3, 4 pair, which gets us a 2, 5 pair in to complete this row. That's got to be the 5. So that's a 2. This is a 1, 5 pair, which is also now resolved. Let's bluify this for good order. These 2 squares are 2 and 4, which we can do. These are 1 and 3, which we can do. That does the 3 and the 5, does the 5 here. Ah, God, again. Misclicking all over the place. That's a 3, 4. Right, that's not a 5. Not a 5. So we've got a 4, 5 pair here. We know this digit. So that's 5, that's 4, that's 3. That's 5. That's 5, therefore. This digit's now known to be a 9, which means that's a 9, that's a 4. And we just need 3 and 6 into the middle box. So we do that like this. And all that is left is to do our markings and bluify those. And hopefully, click tick. Yay! Very, very nice. That was very interesting, actually. I didn't find the start of that very easy. I'm just a bit nonplussed. Maybe it's my COVID brain, but I couldn't immediately see how to just write in a load of digits. And, well, had the nice idea around these dominoes having to add up to 15, but that was not enough. And eventually it was something over here, wasn't it? Oh yeah, literally we had to disambiguate between the 15 pairs. And that allowed me to work out there had to be a high digit in this, along with this high digit. And then we knew where the 9 went in box 9. And after that, we could do the puzzle. Really, really lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. So a great tribute to Wimbledon starwarigami. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. I do enjoy them, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.